an outtake. We're all professionals here.
Cat ears.
G'day, Anime America. This is David. You haven't seen me in the longest time, have you? Back when I sucked at doing interviews, I think.
When we did interviews for Pop Spectrum. Remember David?
Yeah, where Richard Horvitz just absolutely out-interviewed me when I was trying to interview him.
My little pony, my little pony.
His little pony.
You want to know something about these ears?
Yeah, they light up.
Yeah. And the Main Street Electrical Parade.
I want them, I'm not going to delay. Do they come in dog?
I don't think so. There should be. There should be, because a lot of dogs have floppy ears, unless they're like Husky or Shiba Inu. Maka-chin! Sumi, stop abusing Maka-chin!
No! Fuck you. So he says. So, with that out of the way.
Yep, silly part done. Now it's time for the serious part. Oh,
yeah.
goodness.
The channel awesome fiasco.
Like, before we get into this, what was your, like, overall opinion on Critic before this whole thing happened?
He was a cool guy from what I saw. Like, he was funny, he had some good insightful moments, the guy knew what made a good and bad movie. Of course, I didn't always agree with him, like, I love The Dark Knight Rises, and I will prefer The Dark Knight over Batman, Tim Burton's Batman, but he's right about Michael Keaton, given that.
Yeah.
But I also remember watching him evolve over the years. Like,
Yeah.
I remember his apparent very first review, which was one of the ways I discovered him, the Transformers thing.
Yeah, the Transformers one, yeah. Then there was the Cartoon All-Stars.
Yeah.
Bugs Bunny should know what a joint is!
Yeah, but one of my favorite reviews that he did was, I'm trying to remember the first one I actually watched was actually when he did the first real Nostalgia Critic episode was when he actually did that collaboration with Linkara and Spoonie with that Uwe Boll masterpiece.
Ah, yeah.
Or rather, it was post.
Alone in the Dark.
Yes, Alone in the Dark. That horrid piece of monstrosity.
I think the first one I ever watched was his review of Mortal Kombat Annihilation, because I think Brendan, I know my husband showed me a video of his a long time ago, and I think it was Mortal Kombat, and then I just kept coming back to his videos every now and then.
And it is glorious! I am acting. He doesn't do, he rarely does any of those things.
Acting.
Yeah, it doesn't do it.
Because like after the Nostalgia Critic died and then was reborn, he stopped using those clips and memes.
Yeah, which is a pity because some of them were really, really funny. Like one of my favorites, the big-lipped alligator moment, because that describes so many things.
Mine was always, no man could ever do this unless that man was
Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris!
They needed to use that more often.
I missed that one. Oh man. But then, like, he just moved on into the meme shows and then the reenactments and the skits that he would do with Malcolm and Tamara and what was
Rachel, I think.
Rachel
as well.
It was, yeah, before she went on to Hollywood. But
lucky girl.
my opinion, because I actually met him back in, I think it was 2012 for ShadowCon, and I really wanted to interview him. But the thing with ShadowCon that particular year, the PR people were like, okay, all of you people want to interview these celebrities at this time, don't worry, we're going to get it booked. They didn't get it booked. They didn't even tell the actors that they were being interviewed. And they were like, so none of that happened. And if you want to do these interviews, you're just going to have to ask the actors themselves. And we're like, what?
Yeah.
To which my favorite interview from that convention, and my favorite interview of all time, was Johnny Yang Bosch, because the guy opened a wall when I'm arguing with the PR guy in front of Johnny, because I'm like, you told me to ask him when I can interview him. It's like, oh yes, well obviously he's working at the store and you really shouldn't bother him. I'm like, I'm not bothering him during an event, I'm not bothering him during his autograph signing, he's buying the CDs and I'm thinking about buying the CD, which they look lovely, Johnny, and he's just like watching us just argue back and forth. To which he just gets up, opens a wall, and he's like, how about we just do it back here right now? So Johnny Yang Bosch opened a wall for me. But with Doug, he and Robert were just signing autographs. And after the autographs, he came out, and I'm just like, Doug, Robyn, let's walk and talk. Like, look, here's the thing. Yeah, Shadowkine kind of messed up with the thing, but the interviews, I really want to interview you. Can I interview you? He's like, yeah, I got some interviews lined up for tomorrow. I can do one with you after these guys. And I'm like, thank you. And the interview went really well. He was very sweet and humble, and I gave him baby koalas. Those little, like, clip-on koalas that you give to all the tourists. I gave him 2 of those, and he clipped them onto his hat. I'm like, can you say welcome to Anime America? So you see him with koala clips on his hat going, welcome to Anime America. Welcome!
Welcome to Anime America!
So he was like a really humble guy, really nice to work with, and it just seemed like a genuine person.
But then along came the
doc.
CEO, I reckon.
The document?
The document. And right now, Doug and Robyn, I think they're in a very big lose-lose situation right now.
No matter what they do, because like they could try to pay off Mike. Because the thing is, a lot of what's happening, a lot of that did happen. They're arresting Mike and Doug now. A lot that happened backstage was mostly the manager, the head director, Mike. Because, and like, he was a guy who just worked in the dark. He would tell you what to do, what not to do, and he would lecture you, even though, like, he really shouldn't have. It wasn't really his place, but he felt it was his place because he owned the trademark Nostalgia Critic. To which, like, along the way, maybe Doug and Robert could have bought the name back, but maybe Mike was just being a cheap bastard and charging up, like, a huge sum of money in order for them to buy the name. So they just flat out ignored everything this guy did. But Doug and Robert aren't really heroes themselves after hearing all the production mishaps that went down.
Yeah. They're forgivable, but they're not unforgettable, if that makes sense.
We're going to leave a link to the document and to some videos going over what went down. If any of you guys just really want to read this for yourself and grab your own opinion on the situation, those links are provided down below. Like, I, for one, am like hugely, severely disappointed because I looked up to Doug. I loved his work. There were some videos I agreed with and didn't agree with, like his review of Princess Kaguya. Like he was all like, oh, it's a typical like princess wants to be a regular person. I'm like, but she wasn't really a princess to be. I mean, she was kind of was, but she was born into humble surroundings and preferred it that way. But I digress. Like
on that note. This Takahata record has gotten botched here.
Years and years.
It was his last movie, I think, on that note.
Yeah. I can't really say for sure, but it's still sad.
I just don't get it at all, but...
I really don't. Like, how can you ignore this? Like, even at their age, when they're older than me, they're like probably near their 40s. How can you, like, ignore a situation? And, like, it just feels like every decision that they made into like their production that was just do it for the greater good, like that episode of MASH. I'm referring to MASH. The surgeons found some civilians with American bullets in them, and they were trying to uncover what happened. These were innocent lives. They were like just South Koreans living out their days, and they thought they were shot by the enemy, but no, American soldiers killed them. And they were investigating everything, and they wanted the truth to be revealed, but the general pretty much comes in and says, just forget about the records. You don't want to give a big black guy to the red, white, and blue. Do it for the good of the unit. Do it for the good of the country. And they're just like... To which Critic and Rob and Mike are the general, and the producers are Hawkeye and Trapper. They want to bring up issues, but they're like, ignore it for the greater good. But the greater good is just for Doug and Robert and Mike.
Yeah. The thing is, though, I think Rob and Doug are like the 2-star generals, whereas Mike is the 5-star general, just saying, no, I outrank you, you gotta do what I say.
Even though he doesn't really do anything. Like, the guy just owns the trademark. Like, I think, like, he ran the sites, but it just feels like he has this blackmail over Rob and Doug because he owns the name.
Which was a bit of a dumb move. I have no idea how they managed to get that one done.
I think like back in those days, probably they didn't have enough money, but Mike's like, hey, I got money to copyright the Nostalgia Critic could be under my name because I have the funding for it.
Yeah, I think I just bumped the camera.
That's fine. I can see it that way because like I know from personal experience when like getting a domain and copyright and whatnot, it's a bit pricey, and especially when you have like no money for way back when. So I think like in the dawn of the era, Mike helped them with their finances and like copywriting this and that, so that if anybody tried to copy Critic's style, they could sue, or he could sue.
Yeah, and perhaps one thing that didn't help was when they were losing money. Thanks to YouTube being absolutely stupid. Which, that was one of the reasons why Voice Actor Magazine just kind of died off, because I was just too scared to actually start making videos again after all that. And,
I didn't!
no, well, that's because you had a little bit of YouTube power behind you. But, and which brings me back to Doug. Doug's generally got a good heart. He may not always be there in terms of business decisions I've seen, but last time, he was the guy who started the Where's the Fair Use movement, which got all the attention, all the way up to friggin' Markiplier, one of the 5 biggest YouTube stars around. And I mean the real YouTube stars. I mean those Paul brothers, yeah, sure, they may have 15 million, but you know what they also have? Nothing worth mentioning, because that's pretty much it.
They started this, I hate them.
Is that where it came from?
I believe so. I think Logan started it. They started this.
The dabbing thing. Okay, there are some people who made the dabbing thing cool, but otherwise, the Logan brothers weren't it.
I do it to some kids, because I was trying to do it to some kids on my job just to make it not cool, but it's not working. But back on track.
Yes. The other thing that Doug started were those charity drives at the end of his major videos.
But at the same time, when you like hear about like how he treated Lindsay, and I feel so bad because like I made that video of like hashtag better YouTube, but I'm like, you all heard of Nostalgia Critic, but what happened to Nostalgia Chick? And now we know what happened to Nostalgia Chick.
Yeah, I have no idea what the hell happened there.
Oh no. Oh, that whole thing went to Boldly Flee. How could you like ignore Linkara and Lindsay's complaints? How could you ignore their suggestion and be like, look, we're not comfortable with this scene, but force them to do that scene? Like, you should know Lindsay's politics. Why force her to do that? It's like, oh, but for the script it'll be funny. No, it was not funny. It was so uncomfortable. You made your cast and crew uncomfortable. Not to mention, you didn't really communicate with the script and the finances and the production, and everyone was just like, wait, this makes it all sound like we're all retiring. Which eventually, I think all of them did because of how, like, Channel Awesome just treated them.
Yeah, and again, good hearts, bad minds. Not a good combination.
It just sounded like they were just big kids. They had a vision. They knew what they wanted to do, but didn't have the proper means to do it. And when everyone was trying to provide feedback on how to do it properly, they were just like, nah, actually, we want to do it in a certain way. We want to do it our way. It's like, they're there to help you.
Indeed.
Like, you
always remember that, kids.
You brought them on to be producers, but you're pushing them aside because, like, it doesn't fit what you need.
It fascinates me overall. And another guy who really fell from grace a little bit sometime not too long ago actually was Spoonie. Oh god, and he actually has an excuse, okay? He's got really bad bipolar disorder with a condition that with his heart, and he has a medication that no longer works for him.
Yeah.
So yeah, some things kept happening for him.
Did he fire a woman because she had to stay for a long time in a hospital? And pretty much forced her to sign a contract that would blacklist her from other competitions.
I don't think I remember hearing about that, but if he did, he was probably just trying to troll her.
Oh no, that was Mike. That was Mike McCaw, Robyn, and Doug. They had someone who worked night and day for these guys and poured her heart and soul into production and gave up a bunch of her time to help them. She had to go to the hospital. They fired her and told her to sign this contract blacklisting her from other companies if she wanted her last revenue back, which was a big sum of money that could go towards her medical bills.
Yeah, to which I have to ask, do you like balloons? How do you like them balloons? I stole that from my brother, and I'm not sorry.
And you saw that reply. We're sorry you felt that way.
No.
We're all trying to be one big happy family, exploring our horizons and making a better production for everyone, and just make things just so happy and go lucky. So we're sorry you felt that way. And it's like, what?
There was more professionalism on The Last Jedi. Think about that. And there were disagreements on so many parts, especially with Mark Hamill. But then again, that's neither here nor there.
Go listen to my rant on Pop Spectrum on Last Jedi.
Yeah, and then I'm going to make a video of how The Last Jedi could have been brilliant. I know that sounds a bit grandiose,
There
but
were ideas there. There were ideas there, I'll put it that way, but...
yeah, the ideas that I have, though, came from the original expanded universe.
Yeah.
With Mara We wanted Mara Jade, okay? We wanted Luke Skywalker's wife. Just as much as we wanted Kyle Katarn and Grand Admiral Thrawn. And Jesus, I'm getting angry right now.
Yes, you are, and a very off topic.
Yeah, another time, sorry, but I felt genuinely wounded by that movie.
I think a good chunk of people felt wounded by that movie, like me, and
the
my husband, and so many people.
And the people whom the higher-ups just did not help. But again, that's also the problem with Channel Awesome, really.
Yeah.
And I just don't get it. These are... Doug and Rob are good men. They might not have always had the right mind, but they've always had the right heart. And for what it's worth, they always fought for their creative vision. Granted, it came at a bit of a cost.
Now, did Doug or Rob have any education in film school? Like, did any of them go to film school?
I know that Spoonie did at one stage.
Lindsay did. Spoonie did. A good chunk of Channel Awesome went to film school. I don't believe Rob and Doug did.
No, because in film school, especially in some of the best ones in America, which they don't live too far away from, they teach
They're in Chicago.
Yeah, that's not too far away from the actors' studio, isn't it?
For them to tell professionals that we know what we're doing, we don't need your help, we got this, while causing a lot of injuries from the cast and crew, a lot of discomfort and complaints, and sudden firing of those cast members because they need to set an example. I have lost words because that is so arrogant.
That is, sadly.
It's so petty and arrogant.
I get it. Fight for your vision, but you need to make a compromise. Like in film school.
I get how that is because, like, yeah, back in my days at tech school, like, I was so stubborn with my vision that I was getting really snippy at people. But now I'm just like, oh dear God, I had no chill. I had no chill. I am so sorry to everybody. Like, to my teacher, when he was, like, asking why my character's, complexions were very, very pale, I'm like, well, that's the anime style. And now I'm like, oh, God, I actually said that.
I look back at my green years with not being proud of a lot of things. Like, for those who don't know, one of my shticks on YouTube is that I voice Sephiroth in a variety of projects. Like, not Death Battle. That guy who did that, by the way, was amazing and very close to what I thought Sephiroth sounded like, actually. But Project M, the Final Fantasy VII Core mod, and of course back in the days before I had any kind of fame or anything worth my name, I just did a lot of fan stuff, a lot of fan dubs. And when I look back, I was terrible. Terrible! I just straight up tried to combine Sir Christopher Lee with Toshiyuki Morikawa. When you talk like this, does this sound like Sephiroth to you? Yeah, exactly. So after many years of being heavily criticized, not understanding how to take the criticism, which is its own technique in itself, really. When I was doing courses in NIDA, doing writing acting courses, one big thing that they always came back to was learn how to take criticism, and not only that, also learn how to take praise. Being too heavily criticized and too heavily praised can really be bad in both ways. You either build up an ego bigger than Kanye West, or have less confidence in yourself than Christopher Nolan. Yeah, Christopher Nolan, one of the great directors of this day and age, is apparently the biggest pessimist you'll ever meet. Yeah, I know, right?
The more you know.
After all that, Jess, I finally made something work. something that's not quite so deep, and something that actually, and in a way the American accent works at last. So yeah.
There you go.
And the way I did that was dropping the arrogance. That is how I improved my acting. You lose your arrogance, you lose your ego, or if you have either one of those two, they're right there at that door and they stay there. And when I also was learning how to be a director, that's the key word, directing. You have a clear vision, you have a clear focus, and you give actors ideas. Like, you're about inspiring your actors, inspiring your crew about how to bring out the best in them. If you try and over-direct, which is actually what George Lucas did, except when George Lucas did it, he was the nicest guy about it. Mm-hmm. That is when you get performances that just don't quite meet the standard that is needed at that time.
Yeah. When
you get people too involved, you need to have that leg room. Like, that's again why I love Christopher Nolan. Like, when it came to Heath Ledger's Joker, that's where a lot of Heath Ledger's stuff was. A lot of it was his ideas, particularly recording the guys recording that guy, that "look at me" sequence, and then starting to know. Christopher Nolan said, "All right, let's see what you can do here." And then after he did that, said, "Okay, however you do the second one is all up to you." That's something. That's something. If that mindset was applied to the Boldly Fleet, what's it called again?
To Boldly Fleet.
To Boldly Fleet.
And Kick-Assia, and there was like another movie they made. How many movies did they make?
Something like 3. But if they had that mindset applied to the examples I just gave, this controversy probably wouldn't exist. Mm-hmm. Okay, the majority of it wouldn't. You would still have the dickhead CEO in charge. I'm sorry, I'm not pulling any punches. I'm known for that.
Mike is a dick. Just how he treated like everybody like they were disposable. Like, everyone's supposed to be welcome into this giant community and feel like they were a part of something grander together. Only to be all like, okay, now put that all aside and be there for when Rob and Doug need you. Or like, be there when we need you, but don't be there when you want something from us, because frankly, we don't really give a damn. Like, when Linkara wanted to record a Channel Awesome to try to save on finances, but still pay for insurances and whatnot, and they were just like, no, you might break something. And it's like,
That's the purpose of insurance, isn't it?
I was like, I was gonna pay for insurance, and like, I'm an adult here, so thanks. And like, when he brought up the PR incident about like the forums, and it's like, hey, we need someone to kind of like be in charge of the forums, and the next thing he knows, like, he's been linked to the forums and gets all these like messages. He's like, well, I wasn't asking for me to be the forum director, but thanks. And it was just him and one other guy, and they were just like, look, we have our own videos to do. We can't just like do this, we can't do our videos and be in charge of the forums. You need like a dedicated team for this forum. But it's like every suggestion they would make, there's Mike going, ugh, and it's like, I'm sorry, are we supposed to be a team?
Yeah, it's absolutely mad.
This is a giant mess. And like, unless they come out and get rid of Mike and come out with an apology, there is no or, there's no and or, get rid of Mike.
Yeah, that has to be the case. Get
rid of Mike, Rob, Doug, they need to apologize for everything they've done and try to move forward from this if they're gonna stop losing subscribers. Like, let's just go to like Social Blade right now. Like,
yeah, like, again, a lot of us are willing to forgive them for that, because what they did was wrong, but it was not necessarily overly evil. Okay, except for the medical
It was just
stuff.
like, yeah. That was overly evil. And forcing Linkara and Lindsay to perform a scene.
Whoa, that was a massive drop. When I saw it earlier today, that was 1,066,000. Now it's 1,058,000. Holy hell.
The biggest amount they've lost was 7,606 in one day. In one day, they lost over 7,000 subscribers.
And that's precious in this day and age of YouTube.
No kidding. So the last 30 days, they have lost 12,148 subs. Wasn't as bad as JonTron, right?
Oh, definitely not. I bet they've all gone to Razor Fist right now. It's really cool, by the way.
Honestly. Like, at least when PewDiePie and JonTron messed up, they addressed the situation and just wanted to continue and just avoid that topic.
Yeah, and PewDiePie didn't even really mess up. It was just humor, which the Wall Street Journal misrepresented. But even then, he apologized and said maybe he went too far. But overall,
Yeah, he apologized. Jonathan was like, look, I'm not the best at politics. I'm just going to stay out of politics on my channel from now on. And he came forward and addressed the situation. The only thing we're getting from Channel Awesome is, well, we're sorry you felt that way. And it's like,
Which goes against what Doug and Rob actually stand for.
Exactly.
They're the guys who say, tell us why. Like, one of those panels which I love that Doug did was getting people to talk about movies which they like and didn't like and why.
Yeah.
It's really fascinating as to why one guy did not like The Dark Knight, saying how some things just didn't happen the way it was expected. And like, the way he talked about The Dark Knight is very similar to how we talk about The Last Jedi, actually.
Yeah.
I don't agree with him, but I understand where he was coming from at the same time.
If any of you have that DVD of like a collection of Nostalgia Critic episodes, before I think this was like the time. I think the last episode on that DVD was the Scooby-Doo one, and you see him host a panel on what was your favorite Nostalgia Critic review of all time, and we had to come up with fake answers. And my suggestion was like, I love that extensive 3-hour review you did of Moulin Rouge 2 with Jar Jar Binks singing. I meant that DVD. If you have a DVD of like the Nostalgia Critic, and with all of his episodes up to the Scooby-Doo one before he was reincarnated or reborn as the other Nostalgia Critic, I'm in that DVD. I'm gonna find that picture. Hopefully it's in this video. But I remember my friend Banks was all like, Robyn, is this you? And I'm like, there's me!
Oh, that's amazing.
So I am in a DVD of Nostalgia Critic, and I interviewed the guy, and like, my overall opinion on him was just so humble and nice, but now it's just what happened. So to wrap this up, Channel Awesome, we want to come back. I currently...
Wholeheartedly agree with that.
I currently unsubscribed because I'm just like, no, I can't. But if you guys come out with a statement saying that, like, you know, or video addressing the situation, just address the situation and get rid of Mike somehow. I know he owns the rights to Nostalgia Critic, but you need to get rid of him if you have any chance of surviving.
Or if he has a price, tell us what it is, and we'll start a GoFundMe or something for you.
GoFundMe to get rid of Mike. That's a great idea. Like if you if you guys seriously care about your producers and about what your audience think, we'll set up a GoFundMe to buy out the Nostalgia Critic and give it to you. Okay? I'd actually donate to that because, like, honestly, like, just get rid of Mike. Get rid of him.
Like, yeah,
and apologize for what you did to your producers with Lupa, with Felon, with Lindsay, with Linkara. Everybody that you guys just, like, passed on as, like, second-rated people, apologize to them.
Definitely. And again, they go me. See this? This is $35. I will give you the money right now if you do that.
You're a big spender.
Well, it's all I have on me right now. And by the way, to the
There's
people...
more to come.
Yeah. By the way, to the people in America, look how colorful our money is.
We're so pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that pretty much just wraps up our thoughts. We're sad, disappointed, and
we know that you're good guys. Just be the guy, be the heartful guys.
There is some good to what you guys do. It's just the way that you handle certain situations and pass on other people's feelings. That's where I'm a little shocked. Just hearing what Doug and Rob did to other producers, it was just a bit shocking to me.
And you don't really need to know them that well to realize that's actually a bit out of character.
Yeah.
You can do it, guys. You can do it. Just give us some sort of explanation. Of course, the great big apology. And if Mike really is that big of a culprit, we'll help you get rid of him.
Just remember, like, the internet is forever. We remember it because you don't want to.
Oh, that's savage. And cut.